Hello, and welcome to Lesson 5, Compilation 1 of English Chinese Characters, ECC, also known as INGSA. Today's a pretty easy lesson, so I want you to just sort of sit back and relax, but let's get right into it. The first character we're going to learn today is the character for hi. What's funny is you might see a Chinese person use this to also mean hi because they would have taken it from English, the English word hi, and they would use this character. It has two radicals. The leftmost part, you know, it's the radical for mouth, right, because you're speaking hi. And then the next radical next to it, it's actually, you see that, the two dots and then the sort of spike going up? It's a radical for water. Kind of looks like dripping, right? It's dripping. So it's a radical for water. So I can give you two mnemonic devices. Either you offer someone water when you say hello to them, right, because you want to give them necessities for their life, or you talk to water and you say hello to water all the time, which, you know, good for you if you do, right? Okay, so that's hi, and the next word is the opposite of hi. It is bye. And this one, I definitely know, I've seen this more often than hi, but they would say bye-bye, and they would put this twice, right? Taken from English, they would use these characters. So this character, before the Chinese knew that, you know, bye-bye was a farewell address, this character also had another meaning, right? So it also sort of means like to bow, right, or to worship, kind of like that. So this character in English, Chinese characters, it might come to be also bow. So it's an example of a character. It will have two different meanings and two different ways to say it. And that's typical of what Chinese does too. But the elegance of Chinese writing is that they don't do it that much, and we want to do it as little as possible. We need to express all the ideas and syllables and words in English. That's, you know, priority. But the better we can sort of just shape it in without, you know, affecting it too much, the happier I will be. And bow and bye, two definitions for the same word, might be good because they both sound with a B. So if there's going to be a difference in how it sounds, we would rather it be closer, right? We don't want it to be like bye and strength or something, right? But bye, bow, right? Something kind of similar. So that's to be determined. But for now, we're just learning bye, right? That's bye. It has a hand, right? You know the hand? So you can imagine like you're waving bye-bye, right? There's a hand. Okay? The next character we're going to learn is the character for how. I really like this character. I just think it's pretty. And it has a heart. So, like, how did something happen? You have, like, this feeling. You're, like, because of this feeling, you're asking how, right? And so there's a heart radical on the bottom. The next character is the character for not. And what radical does this one have? It has the water radical, which makes sense because to be without water is horrible. So not, like without or not having water, is very, very bad. So that's why like the notness of it is kind of powerful. So here's our first sentence. What does it say? Hi, how are you? And the next sentence has a character we learned from last lesson. How do you do? Right? How do you do? And what does this say? I am good. Right? Remember, the word for is without that middle line is going to be am. That's how we conjugate. What about this? I am not good. Right? I am not good. What about this? Bye-bye. So this would be exactly the same in, Chinese or English. Next, we're going to learn numbers 1 through 5, which are some of the easiest characters and super useful. So let's start with 1. It's a line. We learned that one already, right? We're doing a little refresher. So what do you think 2 is? If that's 1, what is 2? of course, right? And if that's 2, what's 3? Of course. And if that's 3, what's 4? No, not 4 lines. But there are 4 like vertical lines if you look. Like there's the 2 sides and the 2 parts in the middle. So there's sort of like an element of 4. Here's 5. And this one has 5 lines, right? Count it. But how many strokes does it have? It actually has 4 strokes because the one line that turns is really just 1 stroke. So there's 4 strokes, but there is really 5 lines when you think about it, like, right? Okay, so I like that one. So great. So now here is a list. What does it read? One ball, 2 balls, 3 balls, 4 balls, 5 balls. Notice that the plural form gets the underline, right? Whereas with 1 ball, it's clean. There's no underline. Nothing in the periphery, right? Doesn't need anything. So here's our next sentence. Be careful. It says, I have 1 chair. Be careful. You don't want to say would have a little slash through the character, right? It's different from 1. So I have 1 chair. What about this? I do not have 2 chairs. I do not have 2 chairs. So a Chinese person without any knowledge of English would be so confused by this. Like, why is there a word do there? What? They would be like, they probably have no idea what this says. Maybe like they could figure it out. But what's interesting is for people who do study English, I think English Chinese characters would be helpful because they would much more easily see patterns. So if you gave them like a whole book in English and but it was in Chinese characters, even without learning English Chinese characters, and they just saw what characters we used and what inflection we used and how we used the periphery and how it was different from their language, I feel like it would help them understand the patterns really well. Like it would be a fun exercise for them, I think. Okay, very good. Next, what is this? She has 3 chairs. Very good. She has 3 chairs. And what is this? She does not have 4 chairs. She does not have 4 chairs. Do you remember chairs? It has the tree on the left side, that tree radical, and it looks like a person sitting at a desk with a computer, right? And here's the next sentence. He has 5 chairs. Remember, the only thing that differentiates he and she is going to be the radical. He has a person radical, and she has a woman radical, right? Okay, now we've come to the time of our lesson where we learn an actual Chinese sentence. So here it is. What do you think it means? So if I were reading this in English Chinese characters, I would read, I not have 5 the ball. I not have 5 the ball. And then if you think, oh, what does that mean? It means I don't have 5 balls. That's what it would mean in Chinese. And of course, how you write that in actual English would be like this. I do not have 5 balls, right? Pretty simple. Alright, that's the end of the lesson, right? It was a good lesson. Really, at least know your numbers, right? At least know your numbers. Okay, I'll see you next week.